Hey guys, Dev here at WeBuyHouses.com. Welcome to the Cash Offer Masterclass, episode number 87. Today we're looking at this beauty right here in Spring, Texas. Spring is a suburb of Houston. I'll show you the location. This house is available subject to. That means it's being offered subject to the existing mortgage, which is a 2.75% mortgage, about a $250K balance. That makes this house pretty attractive. Now, why do I want to look at this one? Well, I really want to dig into the idea of whether you guys should be getting into subject to transactions. Like, it sounds great, right? We're just going to use the seller's financing for our deal, but that's not going to cover rehab and a bunch of other issues that you may have with the property. So, and then I think overall, this kind of transaction is complicated. It's sold by educators like Pace Morby and some of these other kind of like info marketing guys as a panacea, easy way to make money. It's complicated. My first deals were not and would not be subject to deals as a real estate investor. And today I'll show you some of that complication. We're also going to, in today's video, use ChatGPT to analyze this property. I thought that might be fun, and to analyze this subject to deal and tell us what we should be concerned about. Because I think at the end of the day, if I gave you the end of the story here, this deal is probably not going to work out, because you'll see they want the subject to money. They've got a HUD lien. They've got a seller carried thing. So it all kind of stacks up, and the ChatGPT really shows you how that stacks up to make this not a very attractive deal. Now, this deal came to me from Fazio Real Estate Solutions, my friends over there. And basically, I was attracted by the idea that it was a subject to deal at a very low rate, and it's a very nice house in a very nice area. And so we got to get into the money. We got to get into the numbers on the deal and figure out if it is a deal in fact. So here it is. It's 7007 Genesis Cove Court in Spring, Texas. 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, built just in 2015, pretty new. 2,700 square feet, a little bitty acreage for that massive house, but a lot of people don't want a lawn, so that's what they get. They say ARV, or the after prepared value, is $365,000, and they're looking for $35,500 to get into this subject to opportunity. And they say this would also include closing costs and transaction coordinator or whatever might be needed to close the deal. That's probably another $3,000 or $4,000, especially if you actually pay a TC. Now let's talk about the terms. They say there's $254,000 at 2.49. It's a $2,400 a month house payment. And then they've got this HUD lien with no payment associated and a seller carry note. The seller's basically saying, give me some money today and give me additional money later, and I'll sell you my house subject to my loan. Like, they don't need the money right now. They really prefer to have the money in the future, especially if it could gain a 4% interest rate over the next 7 years. So that's what's being offered. And this is what I was kind of saying. It's a little bit of a complicated deal. Do you really? And when you do subject to deals, it's not a cut and dry, just simple transaction. And you got to do things like a land trust and, all kinds of things to protect yourself. Like, if you're going to give them $35,000, you want to be on title. And if you're going to be on title, then you got to, maybe become a trustee of a land trust. It is very complicated. That's why when these guys are selling you this stuff on the internet and give them $8,000, come to their silly course thing, it infuriates me, because they're basically, this is not what a new investor should be doing. A new investor should at most be doing like wholesaling. And then once you have capital, then do buy, fix, flip, then do buy, fix, hold. That should be your path. Subject twos are complicated. other creative things like novation and all that stuff's complicated. We don't really want to get into those kinds of deals when we're newer investors. Trust me. So, by the way, the house is being offered by Fazio. If you have any interest, this is a house that's available for sale right now there in Spring, Texas. You can reach out to Jade Vaughn at 214-646-9646. I mean, I feel like I'm in a hurry on this one because there's a bunch of content. I clicked and looked, and I haven't watched it all, but they have movies and stuff like that, so I want to go see it. Remember, the first thing we do as investors when someone offers us a deal like this is we ask the question, is that the correct ARV? Because everything about our formula starts with the after repaired value times the discount factor minus the repairs equals what we can pay. ARV is extremely important. If we get it wrong, our whole formula is wrong. They say 365. We're going to check that out. The way we do that is we go look at the public sites. We could do a competitive market analysis if we're a licensed agent or broker, but I'm assuming that you're not. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Zillow. We're going to look at basically what they say their estimate is. 376, that's a good sign. They say it was up to 408 there in the peak of 2022. We're going to go over to Redfin. Redfin's got it at 394. They say it's a nice balanced market. About 66 days of holding time might be expected when you go to sell the property. This is Realtor at 385,700. Their number came from CoreLogic. And so that one looks good. Then I have Property Radar. I can't show you that one. It's got personally identifiable information in it. But what I can show you is the number that came from Property Radar, 385, 387. It's right in line with these others. Look at that. The average and the median are right there at the same number, 385. I put in the 20. Did I put in? Yep, I did. 2,700 square feet. I found that at 143, it equals to 386. Otherwise, it's 383. I'm going to leave it at 143 instead of 142. And so that gives us, I'm talking about dollars per square foot. That gives us 386 as the after repaired value compared to what they said, 365. Our after repaired value is actually higher than the one that the wholesaler gave us. And that's a great sign right there. Indicates, they're not blowing smoke about what the potential value of the home is. They have a pretty good number there. In fact, we think it might even be a little low compared to our process of looking at the public sites. Now, the next question in my mind is, okay, that's the ARV. What is it that they want? They want a mortgage balance of $254, take over their note with the $2,400 payments. Remember the monthly payment on that existing mortgage. What was it? It was $2,428. Now I'm going to make a point with this. I hope I remember to come back and make the point with it, but drop it in there. That's not it. The monthly payment. How did I get that 27? Sorry about that, guys. Let me get the right number. That's just funny. I think I copied the cell. I can't get that number in there. What is going on? Control C. Come over here. Control V. It won't happen. It's 2412. We know that. So let's put 2412 in there. Oh man, that was silliness. Here, my point I'm going to make is that the rent estimate is 27. The monthly payment's 24. There's not a whole lot of additional money there. There's not a lot of margin between your monthly payment and what somebody might give you in rent. And I'd also say, man, $3,000 in rent. It's a big house, a 4-bedroom house, but still, yeah, you may or may not get that. Your mileage may vary when you go to rent this house and find that it doesn't rent for $2,787. But what did they want? They wanted the 254 mortgage, the HUD lien, and the seller carry for a total of 353. That's what they want for the house. Now, comparing that to the after repaired value of 386, not a lot of spread there. I mean, so you can kind of see this is the problem that I haven't even jumped into the pictures. I haven't jumped into the analysis I did with ChatGPT, any of that. I just did the basic ARV and totaled up what they want, and then looked at the Zillow's estimate on the restiment, the rentstiment, whatever they call that, the rent estimate, and kind of looked at this and thought, man, it's just like $300 spread there. And then what they want is just like 30K spread here. It's not very good. I mean, the only thing that might be interesting about this deal is that you get to use $254,000 at 2.49%, which is pretty good. But if the deal sucks, is it good that you got the money cheap? I kind of don't think so. Now, I've kind of lost like where I wanted to put this in, but I wanted to show you guys, just jump over to ChatGPT for a second. This is another thing I'm thinking about doing, like a special show to just talk about what we can accomplish with ChatGPT these days as real estate investors. And so what I've done here is I said, I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking at a subject to deal. I gave it the information that came from the email there from the wholesaler, right? All the way down to there. And then I said, okay, help me determine what the total required down payment will be and what the monthly payments will be if I do this deal. I just kind of wanted to see if it was implying that any of this might be due or, now, or how that would all work. And so basically said, you've got a classic layered sub-2 structure here, existing mortgage, HUD lien sitting behind it, seller carry balloon, plus an upfront cash payment to make everyone happy. That is totally right. What ChatGPT just said right there, that is this deal in a nutshell. And then they summarize 35K is, what we saw in the email. They want the 35K right there. Okay. And probably another $4,000 in closing costs. So ChatGPT is going to add those two together and then say, this may say no payment associated. Doesn't mean it disappears. It doesn't. It will need to be resolved at reseller refinance. So it's not part of your down payment, but it is part of the total debt stack. And see, this is what I really think sometimes if you just take the information that and you put it into ChatGPT and say, look, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to evaluate. This is very good analysis. I know everybody, this isn't going to necessarily replace real estate investors, but it certainly makes our job easier. And it certainly makes it easier to be a real estate investor if you have this kind of analytical support. And I really do like it. I like what ChatGPT can do here. Talks about the seller carry, 4% interest, and it makes a really good point down here below. So they're basically saying you're going to be looking at $39.5 probably to get into the deal. You're going to owe the $24.12 per month. You don't own any payments on the seller carry or the HUD lien. So your payment would be the $24.12 per month. But here, I really like what ChatGPT has done here. They said, let's look at the real equity stack. And this is what we did here. I always call it the what do they want? What do they want? They want this money, and it adds up to that. And so ChatGPT did exactly the same thing as I would have done as a professional investor. And they calculated pretty much what I was talking about. Very, very small gross equity on this deal. It's thin, according to ChatGPT. If you sell retail, you'll pay a 6% commission. You'll pay closing costs. So if you sold today at 365, you'd be negative. You'd be negative. This deal doesn't work. Like, and look, I went in, let's see, they gave me some more thoughts, smart investor questions, a big picture. My take, this is not a flip. This is a low interest debt acquisition play, and it could be that. But if the underlying deal sucks, you don't want what you got some cheap debt on a deal that sucks. Come on, that's that's not what we want. I did ask it for just to help us with definitions of things. What is a seller carry note? It kind of said a seller carry note is when the seller becomes your lender for part of the purchase process. Instead of bringing all cash, the seller says, I'll let you owe me part of it. And that's what that is. But notice what they point out about this. That note, where did I see that? I think it was right here. It's going to add, that note will grow to 90 something $1,000. I kind of lost it. I lost it in the ChatGPT thing. But yeah, it starts out at 75, $3,000 a year. That's 21,000. You will owe roughly 96,000 at the end of the. So it's even worse than we think. Right? It's even worse. That's 75. I mean, if you hold that note, would become 96,000, and then you're like, it's just even worse, right? Okay, so let me go back. 75. We'll keep it in there because we could just pay it off right now. Let's jump into some quick videos and pictures, see what this thing looks like. That's the outside picture, but let's jump in and see. It's a nice house. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on pictures, guys. Today I wanted to show you, again, as a wholesaler, it's nice to see this type of content. I strongly encourage this for wholesalers. Make some videos. Also include still pictures so that people can zoom in and that kind of thing. But look at how much perspective it gives you when they provide us a video like this. Now, this is a 9-minute video. I'm probably not going to watch the whole thing with you. There's the front door. It's nice. Had a house like that. Put a Christmas tree over the front door. At Christmas, obviously. Not all the time. We don't leave our lights on the house all year long. Oh, there's a cat box. Isn't that pleasant? They kept it out of the way. Cat has its own little part of the house here. I'm going to just move around and just kind of show you some different parts of this video. What I see right here is a house that's in pretty good shape. This, could it use some paint? Yep, look, we're going to look around. Well, you'll see some little defects and stuff. I think this mostly, yeah, they had a TV hanging on the wall there. Some above all the doors. Why is that? And they stuck things in the walls. All right, now they're up there looking at the ductwork in the attic. Pretty dusty. All right, moving along. Here's a bathroom. Yeah, normally, if you guys haven't, if this is your first video with me, normally I would spend more time looking at the photos and calculating the repair estimates and all that. The problem with this deal is this deal just ultimately doesn't really work. There's no margin on this deal with the HUD lien and the seller carry and having to come 35 out of pocket. It's just not going to be a super attractive deal. But man, I love the video. The video is great. Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for this. Oh, look at that. You can kind of see the globular nature of the texture and paint on the wall there, but it looks fine. I don't like glossy paint. Not great lines where an amateur has come in and painted this. They didn't know what they were doing, and they left a lot of little edges. Look at this. This is really amazing that somebody took the time to just walk through with their phone and shoot a bunch of pics. Here's a bedroom with purple lighting, which needs to be taken down. This is not bad. Look at that. Ready to play video games, and we're getting a little too personal there. Okay, and yeah, there's some cosmetic damage on walls. Look at that. Cosmetic damage along the edge of the door frame there. Cosmetic damage in here where this is not normal. That is not normal. How do you get that? Holes in your wall like that. Somebody got angry. Look at that. Okay, wow. They were either looking for something in that wall. They were looking for something in that wall. Wow. You can see it like there they just cut out a box. There's a cut out a box. They were looking for either mold or animals or something in that wall. That's bizarre. I was not expecting this. The house looked pretty nice, and now that I'm seeing this, I'm just baffled by what has happened here. Look at that. That's crazy. It's still a blade stuck in the wall, like a murder scene. This is nuts. Absolutely nuts what's going on in this house. Okay, we're spending a little more time in here. We're going to maybe go into another room or closet. Okay. Yes. Moving along. There's attic access. That's cool. I think they go up into the attic. Look at all that ductwork. Look at all that space in the attic of this house. It's kind of wasted space if you think about it, but I guess, wow, just a lot of space up in there. All right, so I'm going to end that video. Here's another one where they're outside for a couple of minutes, and they walk around the house. Let's look at that condenser real quick, see if they show it to us. Bravo to Fazio for these photos and videos. This is what we want. We want video walk-arounds and walk-throughs of these properties. You give that to cash buyers, and you're going to sell more houses. A little bit of time, a little bit of professionalism, a little bit of creativity goes a huge, long way. Look at that. I bet they got pictures of that as well. So, guys, I could spend a lot of time showing you this house. Excuse me. I don't want to waste all your time today. I think what we're looking at here, this house needs a pretty full cosmetic. We saw holes in the wall. It's not that old of a house. The air conditioning and such is probably still in pretty good shape. So I think we're in pretty good shape. Like here we go, more videos. Again, if I was looking to buy this house, I would be watching every second of these videos and appreciating it so much. Thank you for doing this, giving us an inside and outside view of the property with the video, going up under the sinks, looking around the living area. I don't like those two colors together. Do you guys? That like orangey thing there was kind of a little odd, wasn't it? Paint doesn't matter. All right, I think we're in a master living. Let's go a little bigger. Looks good. I like that window up above the bed. That's pretty nice. Yep. Looks pretty cool. Looks very cool. Where are we? We're in the kitchen now. Kitchen's alright. Yeah. That's fine. It's fine. I like it. I don't think there's a lot of major repairs to be done here. I think most of it's pretty minor. And here we are in the laundry room and where the panel is, all that kind of good stuff. And we come back into the kitchen. I love video because it gives you a sense of where you are in the property as you look at things. And then if we were to go look at, say, their pictures, see, they got more videos, but you go look at their pictures, you have a better sense of where you are in the property. because you've kind of been in there with their videos. Just stick a short fence post right there. It's kind of funny. And then, yeah, the thing about photos is you can scroll in on them like this and kind of sit and look at something for a little bit. Overall, I like this house. There's nothing wrong with this house. Well, there was something wrong with this house. Somebody punched holes in the walls, and there's holes in that wall that got patched up. Why? Why? Look at the walls up there, patched up. There's some serious cosmetic work to be done there, and I don't know what in between 2015 and now that somebody did to this house to screw it up that much. I like that bathroom. I like that shower entrance. It's cool. Yeah, I like the house. I like the house a lot. Flooring seems to be, it's tile, so it's a lot of people won't like tile. They're gonna want some sort of wood, but you got more of a wood type laminate in the bathrooms. Or the bedrooms. Looks good. Looks good. Hey, I like the house. Here's what I'm gonna do with it. I'm going to go back to my calculator. I'm just going to say this house needs a cosmetic at 27 G's. I think that's what it needs. And you can see why I was saying, spending all this time on all these pictures and stuff. I don't know if it's worth it, but I did want you guys to really see what it's like when the wholesaler gives you video. Wasn't that wonderful? I mean, wasn't that awesome compared to the other ones we looked at where we just have some photos, or even sometimes you get them and they got like bad photos that are about this big. It's so cool to see those videos. I feel like I got a really good look at the property, and then together with the photos, I got an excellent look at the property. We like for the wholesaler to go around, show us all the mechanical things, and in the photos to take pictures of the labels that are on things like your hot water heater, air conditioner, things like that. Labels provide us a lot of information, so we really love that. So I got to give Fazio like 5 out of 5 stars on giving us content that was great to review this property. Now the deal itself, this is kind of what I was saying. I think sometimes, like if you were to attend, say, a Pace Morby course or something like that, you'd come out of it thinking, man, sub 2 is the way to go. And what I wanted to show you with this deal is that subject to is in and of itself doesn't make a deal, right? Just because someone's willing to give you their mortgage at, it's at 2.49 and let you take it over, well, that's great. But is there a deal here? And as you can see, if we were buying this house outright, we would be offering, here's our calculation, ARV is 386. We go times 70%. That 30% margin is basically where our profit is, and it also covers all our holding costs, closing costs, everything that we're out of pocket besides the repairs. The repairs, I'm actually going a little conservative at 27, but that's just a one repair job for a house this size. We are looking at a cash offer of 243. It's just not a deal. Like, we can't justify taking on 353 in debt, even though it's deferred, even though it's low interest. Oh, the debt looks so good on this thing. No, it doesn't. There's way too much of it. I need there to be about 100,000 less of that debt in order for me to do this deal. And I also didn't like that the monthly payment was 24 and maybe we could get 27. There's just no meat on the bone in this deal. So that's it for today, guys. I'm going to close up the shop. Hey, if you have a house that you'd like to sell fast for cash, go to webuyhouses.com. I can connect you with one of the top residential real estate investors in the country. We don't sell your name. We connect you with one person that's a good fit for you. And that's our promise. And they will be a professional that can buy your property, not somebody that went to a hotel seminar, not somebody that's trying to take over your mortgage because they went to some class or saw something on YouTube. Our guys are all real professional local real estate investors working in your community, or we wouldn't be working with them. All right, so that's it today, guys. If you are one of those great professional real estate investors, go down into the description and you'll see I've got Mike's number, Mike at webuyhouses.com. He works with all the on the investor side to bring people on board. And so, yeah, reach out to Mike. Man, we can sell you leads. We can sell you territories. We can do referral deals. We can do all kinds of things with you if you are a top tier professional investor. We need to be connected. We need to be talking because we can help you make a lot more money in your business. All right, that's it for today, guys. I have really enjoyed my time together. I feel like this was going long. I felt like I needed to push. Part of it was because I had so much content from Fazio on this house, this crappy house deal. Had excellent content from Fazio. Thank you so much, Fazio, for sharing this deal with us. And guys, like I said, if you have any interest in the house, reach out to Jade Vaughn. Reach out to those guys. They can hook you up with properties all over Texas, Florida. I think they're in Arizona as well. They're doing stuff all over the place. So we love those guys. Hey, take care. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Got something special coming up again in episode number 90. I've kind of given you some hints, but it's going to be special. Adios.